Hello and welcome back to the channel. This video is for people who haven't had support. So if you're a person that you grew up without support, a really good support system, like, your mom, your dad, your parents, or just the general things that you need, someone telling you that, hey, you can make it in life, you can do it, that you're uplifted and letting you know that they got your back, this video is for you. A lot of times when people grow up, they grow up in an environment where they have people rooting behind them, telling them like, hey, you could do it, you could do this, and you can do that, you could be all the things that you want to be, right? And when you have that love and that support that we need as part of our intellect when we're growing up, so we need those things to boost our self-esteem and to build self-worth into us. We need those things because when you come in the world, you don't have an idea of who you are and what it is that you're trying to be. So we have the people around us to tell us, who we are and what we're trying to be, what we're meant to be, and what we can be, the potential that we have. So when you are a person that doesn't have someone building those experiences into you, you have to forge those experiences within yourself. You have to forge that thought and that knowledge within yourself that, hey, I could do this or I could be this. So everything that you accomplish in life, it takes a little bit more than the person who has always had that person their whole life telling them, you're great, you're fabulous, you're going to go off in the world and do everything that you ever thought, that you ever dreamed of. When you don't have someone telling you that, you have to instill that within yourself, and there comes a point where there's a lot of doubt, and there could be a lot of questioning yourself. But when you built that, it's authentic because it's not something that was passed down to you. It's something that you literally had to take the time and go inside of yourself. And when you go inside, one or two things could either happen. It could either cause you to crash, or it could build you up to the point where it's something that's self-made. So it's nothing that anyone can take away from you once you have found that within yourself and you built that up from yourself. Growing up, I went through a lot of stuff as a child, and there was some experiences, like my first experience, getting my hair cut off, and I had to learn that week was really challenging for me, because even going through a lot of things as a child, one of the things that I could identify with and tap into myself was always being able to do my hair, or having the confidence, that I had my hair. I didn't have the longest hair. I didn't have the thickest hair, but it was mine. And it was one of the things about me that I thought was beautiful, that I liked. And when I got my hair cut off, I really had to build myself up and my identity, because that person had taken something from me that I valued. I wouldn't say the thing that made me most, because there are so many other wonderful qualities about me. But that week, I braided my hair into a different style every day. I didn't have anyone else around to, stop that attack from happening. I didn't have anyone else around to tell me, like, you're still pretty regardless, whether you have hair, whether you don't have hair. It took a lot for me to really ground myself and turn within. And that was a moment where I could have crashed and burned. I could have really lost myself because I didn't have the support system. But not having that support system really forced me into a place where I had to build myself back up. And at that moment, that was something I realized that was definitely something that no one could ever take away from me. A person that has a really large family and they have friends around them constantly rooting them up, I would say it's healthy, because it's good for us to build those thoughts about ourselves. So when we're children, we're a blank slate. No one is coming to earth with all of the confidence, with all of the things, and with all of the knowledge that a human should know right away. So whether you have that loving grandmother that's like, hey, you can do this, and everything's going to be okay, or you have that loving mother no matter how many times you fall, and they say, you know, you could get back up, you can do this. And or a father who's just building that confidence, especially for women. Our father is the person who builds confidence into us and shows and teaches us so many lessons. So whether you're a man, you're a woman, just not having those ground things can definitely change and affect who you are. It could affect how you perceive yourself and how you perceive the world, how you perceive others. So, and that's not to say that if you did have someone to show you those things, that you're better than someone else who had those things put in place for you, because I'm sure it's a lot easier to be able to thrive once you've had those things already put in place. But this is just to say, for the person who hasn't had a support system, that you're really at an advantage. Sometimes we think that we're at a disadvantage because you look at other people around you and you're like, wow, they may have people behind them telling them that everything is going to be okay and that you could do this and you can do that. So when you're put into that space and you are made to really go inside and face yourself, that's a position that most people have never been put in their entire lives. And some people probably won't ever be put into that position where you're in this space and you really have to figure out things for yourself, because there's no one there to tell you or to show you. So it's like, okay, you turn within yourself, and it's a moment that can make you or break you. You had to literally build yourself up. Nobody was there patting you on the back. Nobody was there to put that confidence in you that promotes you and tell you those things that you probably wanted or you needed to hear at that time. You had to literally go within yourself. You had to face yourself. And that's why you could have a person that comes from a loving family. Everybody in their family tells them that, hey, you're a wonderful person. I see that you do this great, and I see that you do this great. They have friends around them that tells them that they're a wonderful person, and all of the things that they see in them, they could, you know, spot that out within a quickness and recognize that and translate that to that person. But it's like, if they don't believe it at the end of the day, they're not able to push that out into the world, because it wasn't something that was self-built, and it wasn't something that they had to go inward to find. It was built outwards from your environment around you. So it just makes it really special when it's something that you can go back to and you could say, you know, nobody gave me this. I had to literally get down in the mud, get down in the dirt, and figure this out for myself. I had to go in and do the work. And facing yourself is not always the easiest thing. Like when you have to go in and really internalize. Some people can't even be with themselves for a long time because they have to turn inwards and actually do the work. When you don't have anything to supplement for that, you don't have distractions, and you don't have substances, and you don't have all of these other things that could keep you from doing that work. When you have to truly be in a still space with yourself, and you have to turn inwards and figure out who you are, what it is that makes you special, what it is that makes you the person that you are, what is it that helps you persevere, that can be a true testament of where you are, your faith, and who you are as a person. Everybody doesn't get that moment in life, you know. Sometimes they stay around people that are giving them that gratification and giving them that feeling of validation. And then let's say you're in a situation where it just seemed like things are going from bad to worse, and they're not necessarily getting better in the way that you need them to get better. So to be able to go inside and pick yourself up and build yourself from nothing into something without the support, it really says a lot about your mental. It says a lot about what you're able to endure. And like I said, a lot of people just aren't able to do that. So some people get into that space and you see a lot of different things happening. You see people that will do self-harm, or you see people that will turn to substances, go down a darker path, because they've always had somebody else to build that up within them. This doesn't necessarily mean that you're at an advantage or you're in a better space, because like I said, this can affect people differently. So if you're the type of person where you feel like you look around and you're like, wow, I know how not having these pieces have affected me, whether it's not having that mentor or not having that parent in my life, that it could have given me extra lessons, that could have given me extra love, and I could have really benefited from that. So you just have to figure out what is it that you need that can help you stay along the path that you need, because it does come a moment where you could fall weak and you could fall vulnerable to certain things if you don't try to fill in on those voids as you get older. So you can't help the things that you don't have as a child, but when we get older, it's our responsibility to start putting ourselves in that space, and we have to say, you know what, I deserve this, and I deserve that. I deserve to be loved. I deserve to be cared about. I deserve to feel special. My feelings do matter. So I just want you to know that if you're somebody that you've had to make it most of your life alone, these are just some of the strengths that a person like that possesses, because when you're alone, you have had to build yourself up, and that's something that absolutely no one can take away from you. So I want you guys to know that I love you. I care. If there's something that you want to hear me touch on, please don't hesitate to drop it in the comments below. Know that I love you. Peace and blessings. Until next time.